All right, so you have a photo that is gridded to look at while you draw, and you have a large paper that has a 3-inch grid on it. So you are ready to try to transfer this to this. Now this is 1-inch squares and this has 3-inch squares. So you are making this 3 times bigger, which shouldn't be too difficult to do as long as you follow the lines that you see in the grid. So one thing I want you to remember is you're not drawing your face. What you are drawing is shapes and lines. Any shapes and lines you see within a square. So like if I'm drawing this square, this particular square, all I'm drawing is the outlines of the shapes that I see. I'm not drawing eyes, I'm not drawing eyebrows. I'm trying to just faithfully draw the lines that I see here. And if I do that on my big paper, when it all comes together, it should look like this portrait. So the grid is here to help you just focus on one part at a time. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can draw using a grid. So first of all, you'll notice that I put a piece of paper that blocked off most of the picture except for the 1-inch I'm focusing on. It's a little viewfinder. I just took a scrap of paper and I cut out a 1-inch square. I made marks so I know where like the middle of each box is. So if I'm looking at this, I can judge. It looks like this black shape is in the top half of the square. So I know that I'm working in the top half of the corresponding square on my big paper. I'm going to draw anything in the face. I'm going to draw all the little shapes on the face, like every little shape that I see, even if it looks like nonsense, I'm going to draw it and make it look like it looks here. I'm going to draw the main lines of the hair. Now, some things that you can skip. If you have a lot of streaks in the hair, you can maybe just draw some of the main streaks, the outlines of the main streaks, and not draw every little tiny detail because a lot of that can be done with paint. Like I could fill all of this in with a medium gray and then paint over it with a highlight and then add in my shadows. I could do that later with paint, and I don't necessarily have to get every single little line drawn in the hair as long as I have my main lines to know where my hair is. But in the face, you want to draw all the little shapes. The other thing you can skip is background. You can make the background a flat shape, a flat color. You don't have to fill in details unless you want them to be there. That's up to you. So what you can do is number across the top and down the side so that you know which box is which. So if I'm working here, I'm working in column 2, row 2, or you can do ABC for one side and 1, 2, 3 for the other. I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just lightly putting the corresponding numbers. And then I'm going to just start at the top. Some people like to work holistically. Like some people dive right into the eye, find row 2 or row 4, column 2, 2, 4, and then start transferring the image that you see here. But that shape would go here. You can do that, but I'm going to show you how to do this box by box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look box by box. I'm going to identify the main lines. Sometimes I even like to draw right on my picture so I can kind of get a feel for the lines that I'm drawing. And then sometimes you might have these like real wiggly lines, like here. I have these real wiggly lines. I might kind of smooth those out and make them a little bit more fluid. Try to wait for that to unfreeze. There we go. So anytime you have like little wiggly lines, you can just smooth that out into like one main line. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to draw this shape that I see. That's really all I see in that box. If I use my viewfinder, I can block everything else off and just kind of double check. Yep, all I've got is this sort of light shape. And it's coming from the top right. So I would be drawing a line that goes from here. It looks like it goes about to the corner. And it starts up at the top and it looks like it gets narrower and goes to the corner. And then I can draw in some of those little shadows within that shape, but I don't have to do every little tiny thing there because that's just hair. So in my next box, especially if I block it off, you could just use pieces of paper for this too. I see that finishes up in the corner. There's a little highlight there. And then I see some lines at the bottom. They kind of taper off towards the bottom. So I'm just drawing these lines here. This is hair again, so I'm getting it approximate, not perfect. And I'm going to just work my way from box to box. It looks like it starts in the middle. And I'm going to draw, it looks like it goes over to the side. I'm going to draw my lines and make sure they land where the edges of the boxes are. And if they're not perfect in certain places, it's okay. I'm just drawing the lines that I see. And it's gonna look a little bit like a road map for a while. It's not gonna make sense until we start putting our paint on it. And there's my phone. So I'm gonna stop there, but just go box by box and you should be able to get your grid drawing done. And that's it for me.